What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. In 2023, Street Fighter launched on the major platforms. Prior to that, it had only launched on the PS4 and PC. There is this conversation right now going on around saying that Xbox players don't buy games, and for all these companies that seemingly are, basically skipping Xbox, that the juice is not worth the squeeze. I have to be honest with you guys. I think that's a very stupid assumption, and I say that in the most loving way possible. But here's the problem: it lacks math. It lacks deep thinking, simply because some of these publishers understand that there is a what I call aspect to longevity of your video game that can basically be leveraged regardless of where it is. However, the more places it is, the more that leveraging power is there, and you as the publisher and the developer can basically enjoy that particular longevity in terms of sales, in terms of that game continue to gain popularity and growth. Let's look at the case of Street Fighter 6. If Capcom thought that the Xbox platform was not worth the squeeze, why did they launch on the Street Fighter 6 game on Xbox rather than keep it with PlayStation if PlayStation was enough? Well, a game like Street Fighter 6 is a game that has that longevity. I think with Street Fighter 5, they saw it. They saw their game basically become very popular. I'm sure at that time that game came out in 2015. In the 6, 7, 8 year run of that game, it basically made sense to see that game bring in new people, bring in new sales, sell their season content, their microtransactions and such. Now that Xbox has the game, it doesn't matter if 200,000 people buy the game on Xbox or if 20 people buy the game on Xbox. Those 20 people or 300,000 people, their purchasing power increases for a game like this, because a game like this not only thrives on its initial sales. That's something that a lot of people don't pay attention to. This game celebrated 2 million in sales in terms of copies, but people fail to realize that this game is now in its second season. Its first season alone cost about $40 for those who did not buy, like, say, the deluxe edition or the special editions of the game. And so the second season, which has basically been announced, is already coming out pretty soon and will also cost another $40. So when you look at the PlayStation fan base and look at the Xbox fan base and the PC fan base, it makes sense that every single one of them is actually engaging in the purchasing, totality that is available to all of them. And I will just go ahead and say this, ladies and gentlemen, those who say the juice isn't worth the squeeze on Xbox, again, they have basically abandoned thoughtfulness and have not realized that these companies are doing the math in a much deeper way than they are, because the companies have a lot to lose. The companies have a lot to, also maybe gain if they actually do or play their cards right. So the microtransactional nature and the longevity aspect really does take this whole thing to a whole different conversation. And so here's the thing with a lot of the publishers right now and the developers who are actually saying stuff about Xbox, the juice not worth the squeeze, or that they're being claimed to have said, actually, because we heard from SkillUp, we heard from Chris Dring and all these other people, but we haven't heard anything, from these publishers and developers directly anyways. But here's what many of them are missing. Their games may not necessarily be able to benefit from that particular audience, or they just may not necessarily have a long-term approach to how they're bringing their video games to life. That might just be the biggest challenge that they're facing. So instead of them to just basically go ahead and say, okay, if we're saying that this is a problem, yet the big companies do not necessarily care about this, what are we missing? And I think that's what they're missing. The big companies aren't going to tell them, though. They're going to let them keep thinking that, it's not worth it putting your game on Xbox. Thereby, they leave an opening in the market for, these other big publishers to come in and just basically dominate on the Xbox platform. Think about it. Don't be silly. There are 27 million series consoles out in the wild. Who would want to leave money on the table other than a fool? Thanks for watching the video. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Peace out.